Hi, my name is Dr. John Douillard, and today I want to talk to you about the importance of posture. I remember as a kid, my mom and dad constantly reminding me to sit up straight and to stop slouching. As much as I tried, it was very difficult to get those shoulders back. And I think the main reason for that was gravity. We have this 25-pound head bowling ball that when you lean over and study, that gravity is just pulling it more and more and more forward. And the muscles are holding it back, trying not to let the head go too far forward, and they get tight and they become fatigued. And think about this for a second. When a muscle gets tight, there's actually little spindles in your muscles that are supposed to slide like twines of a rope. And when they get too taut, the muscle loses its ability to get and penetrate blood, which is the lubricant in there. And without the blood getting into these tight muscles, the muscle starts to lay down a protective tissue. It's called fibrous tissue, sort of like scar tissue. It's very sticky and not elastic. It's very similar to if you didn't water your lawn, you get crabgrass, right? It's a tough grass that doesn't need much water. The same thing happens in our muscles when gravity is pulling us forward. The muscles get tighter and tighter and tighter. They lose elasticity, lay down this fibrous tissue, and we become very, very stiff and rigid. And as a result, we get stuck in that forward position, and our neck has to kind of hyperextend to get our head off the floor, and that creates a lot of biomechanical strain. And I want to introduce you a product called the Yogawrap Spine Support. It's so simple. It's a piece of foam rubber that straps to your chair in your car, in your house, or in your office, and you sit there, and it puts pressure in that place where I know my mom and dad used to push me in the middle of my spine, and I would instantly sit up straight. And that's exactly what this does. It gets you into that position. My staff have been using this for over a year now in my office, and many of them just love it because it opens up their chest. It actually, clinical studies have shown that it actually makes the muscles of your spine actually fire, which means that they're sliding again, which means that they're working again, pumping blood in and getting waste out, and they're actually firing and supporting a better posture. So the head starts to come back and the center of gravity starts to balance. We don't age with this sort of chronic stress. The more our head comes forward, the more the rib cage collapses with it, and the more difficult it becomes for us to breathe deeply into the lower lobes of your lungs. We know we have the vast majority of our blood for getting rid of waste in the lower lobes of your lungs. A new study that I wrote about recently was that we detoxify a lot of our fat through the lower lobes of our lungs. That's where all the blood is. And many of us are breathing like little rabbits in the upper chest because we've lost access to the lower lobes of our lungs. I'm a big fan of nasal breathing, walking, or exercise. That was my first book, Body, Mind, and Sport. There's tons of research. If you want to read the research on why you want to be a better nose breather and how this device will open you up and allow that to be easier for you, then go to my website and read the whole exercise, fitness, nose breathing section. There's tons of articles, tons of research to prove the benefit of that. One of the benefits is that when you breathe through your nose, the air goes all the way down into the lower lobes of your lungs and activate calm nerves that tell your nervous system that life is not an emergency. If your rib cage is collapsed and you're breathing into the upper chest, that's where the stress, fight, or flight receptors are, and you breathe 26,000 times a day, telling your body your life is an emergency 26,000 times a day. If you can breathe more comfortably into the lower lobes of your lungs and have something that you're sitting on all day long to open up your chest for you, then you exercise and walk and hike using your nose breathing, then this rib cage can become elastic again. Instead of it being like 12 ribs squeezing on your heart and your lungs like a cage, it can literally begin to be 12 levers massaging your heart and your lungs, pumping lymphatic flow away from your heart and lungs and your chest, which is important to actually pump lymph from the lower abdomen back to the heart to be processed out of the body as waste. Our rib cage massages our spine. It does so much more and so tied to our breathing. How you breathe is an Ayurvedic concept that determines how you handle stress, whether it be from a stress, fight, or flight response or a calm response. Now, that's not just Ayurveda anymore. That's well-documented science. I actually just wrote an article that talks about the health benefits, not just the calm, handle stress benefits of breathing through your nose and having deeper access to the lower lobes of your lungs, but the actual health benefits are now emerging in the scientific community as well. So it's really powerful what's beginning to happen if we become a better nose breather. And by the way, humans are what are called obligate nose breathers, which means we were born to breathe through our nose, not our mouth. It's a learned response to breathe through the mouth. So we sort of have that natural ability, but because of stress, we lose access to that. We breathe like upper chest and we don't gain access. This Yogawrap Spinal Support, such a cool way to open up the chest and get you in a position where the rib cage can open. Now your stomach is underneath your rib cage as well, and if you're sitting slouched, then the rib cage and the stomach and the liver, which is right under there as well, under the diaphragm, can actually bind together. It actually adheres together. Ayurveda, they call it upward moving pressure of the stomach, putting pressure on the diaphragm, compromising deep, deep breathing. Well, we have lots of science. There's a condition called a hiatal hernia, where the stomach actually herniates through the diaphragm. How much pressure had to be there for years, pushing up against the diaphragm for the stomach to literally herniate through the diaphragm. This is a real phenomenon. And it's not just for people with hiatal hernia. Many, many, many years before the diaphragm, the stomach herniates through, there's a lot of pressure there. And a lot of it is postural related. And if you can open up that chest and spread your wings a little bit and then learn how to breathe deeply in combination, that become a nasal breathing exercise, or use the yoga wrap to help open up your chest while you're at rest, you can really begin to gain what I call full respiratory capacity. Once again, breathing 26,000 times a day into the lower lobes of your lungs, activating a calm neurological response versus a fight or flight upper chest response that we now know is related to a lot of stress-related issues that we can avoid by becoming better breathers and, of course, doing what our mom and dad told us to do, which is to have much better posture. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard.
This recording is brought to you by LifeSpa, where ancient Ayurvedic wisdom meets modern science. Get access to free health video newsletters by Dr. John at lifespa.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.